Welcome to the Property Management Mastermind Show with your host, Brad Larson. Brad owns one of the fastest growing property management companies in San Antonio, Texas. This podcast is for property managers by property managers. You'll hear from industry-leading professionals on best practices, new ideas, success stories, and lessons learned. This is your opportunity to learn about the latest industry buzz surrounding property management, as well as tips and strategies to improve your business. Now here's your host, Brad Larson.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the Property Management Mastermind podcast. Be sure to check out our website at propertymanagementmastermind.com, where you will find all of our episodes, products, and services to review, to include our newly launched Biz Dev Mastermind offering, which is consulting services for companies looking to hire and grow using a business development manager. You can visit that site at bizdevmastermind.com. In addition, I wanted to announce the Property Management Mastermind Annual Conference going on in Las Vegas, March 2, 3, 4 at the Mirage Hotel in 2020. Visit the website at pmmcon.com. If you sign up for the conference and both add-on seminars, you'll get a 10% discount. I look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas. Lastly, be sure to find us on Facebook to join the conversation of over 6,000 members in the Property Management Mastermind Facebook group.
Choose Seacoast Commerce Bank as your property management bank of choice. Seacoast Commerce Bank specializes in trust accounts and business banking for property managers. One of their best features is a cash analysis program where they can assist in paying your property management-related invoices. Contact Allison at 619-988-6708 to learn more. And be sure to listen to the Property Management Mastermind podcast, episode number 26, about Seacoast Commerce Bank.
Hey, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Property Management Mastermind podcast. In today's episode, I have Mike Connolly coming at us, and he is an operator, property management company owner out of the San Francisco Bay Area. And so I want you to pay attention because he's going to be talking about his seminars, and he's done us a really, really solid here at the show and offered this in a PowerPoint and handouts for free to anybody who emails Mike at eastbaypmc.com. Mike at eastbaypmc.com. He'll email you that stuff directly. So take advantage of this episode, learn about the seminar, learn about the conversation we had, and hope you enjoy it. Take care. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Property Management Mastermind Show. I'm your host, Brad Larson. Today's guest, I have Mr. Mike Connolly here from East Bay Property Management over in the California area, and we're going to have a great conversation about a couple different topics that we wanted to touch on. One of that is part of the seminars that Mike has been doing, and I'm going to let him really go into that, and two, some of the direct marketing pieces he's putting out, along with just a couple, this is just a real good mastermind conversation that Mike and I are going to have because we've been in touch for years, and, we talked about having him on the show, and finally I got him to come on. Hopefully his audio is going to do okay today, and we'll have a good time. So, Mike, I'm shocking you with this light on my head. I apologize. It might be blinding, but let's get into it. So how are you today over in sunny California?
Excellent, Brad. Excellent. It's raining here in California, but no matter what the weather is, I always tell people it's beautiful. I'm looking out at the ocean. It's gorgeous.
Good attitude. So give me some time here. Kind of give me the who, what, where, when, why. Give me the W's about yourself and your business, just to give people some background. So how many homes do you guys manage over there in that area?
Basically, Brad, I have 440 doors. I've been in business 4 years. So that gets people's attention because I jumped into this business 100% from the very beginning, doing a lot of direct mail. I've been an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur all my life. This is my third business. And of those 440 doors, about 300 are single family homes, 140 are multifamily. I have a couple of large apartments, all here in the East Bay of California. Fremont is where my office is. We're right between San Jose and Oakland. Average rent here for a 3-bed, 2-bath house is right around $3,000.
So let's put that in perspective. So it's 440 homes, but for the rest of us, that's really about 880 homes because you're literally double the cost of management. Now I'm looking at one of your pieces that you sent me, and it's it's going to be tough to convey on the podcast. So what I have is, it's called Landlord of East Bay. It's a publication you put out via direct mail. It is a front back legal size deal that's folded in half. So you have basically 4 pages of information fantastic stuff, because I imagine, it folds down into threes and then comes across as like a letter form in the mail. But it's just amazing, this piece. I really am proud of what you've done. I mean, I'm giving you a lot of props here. This is a great piece. So let's dive into this, because I threw it out at you. This is the first thing I wanted to bring up, because I think this is something that's overlooked. And I really want to get you on the show to talk about it, because everyone hears about direct mail, and the first thing they say is, it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. I tried it one time and it doesn't work. But for you, you've made it work. And so we're starting to hear more and more of this. And where I'm going with this trend is, I do think that there's a trend to go back towards more direct mail, because everyone is sick of the spam and the emails, right? You spend all this money to send out this direct mail stuff with email, but they overlook, hey, there's something really cool about something tangible in your hand like this, that, you may get a low perception of adoption rate or interest rate, let's say, or closing rate, whatever rate you want to put at, but it is making you look as professional as possible. And even if no one ever gets this, you can always bring it with you on a listing presentation. So you can say, these are some of the pieces that we put out. We're a professional company, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm doing a lot of talking. Let me shut up and let you go. Please go.
Yeah, well, Brad, I was doing direct mail postcards from day one to absentee owners from from my title company. And it amazes me how many property managers don't realize that that they can get absentee owners in their territory from any title company. And they need to have that. They need to know how many landlords to market to. So I started doing direct mail postcards from day one 4 years ago, and then transitioned into a newsletter 2 years ago. I split the cost of the newsletter with my brother Tom. He's a broker that sells homes, and I just do strictly property management. So I found the return on investment to be fantastic, because I've done some Google ads. I've done all property management. I've tried a number of different marketing vehicles, but for me, direct mail is a winner, and I just hit it hard and heavy. So I'm sending a direct mail piece to 18,000 absentee owners 3 or 4 times a year.
What does each piece cost?
This newsletter that I put out, it's a 4-page newsletter. It's 59 cents for 18,000. That's printed, folded, and mailed. That includes the postage. I split that with my brother. So we're, each paying about 29 cents each for every mail piece. So
let's call it 10 grand for fun. It's probably, 9,800 or whatever, 10 grand. How often do you do that per year?
4 times a year.
Okay. So you're looking at a total cost of 40 grand per year for that type of investment. 40,000.
Split in half.
Split in half. Okay.
20, he's paying 20.
About 20K each for something like this. And so really, let's do some monkey math in our head. Let's say your capital value of one management agreement signed is $5,000 for fun. That's what your annual revenue could be or might be. Let's cut it in half to be really lowball. Let's say it's 2,500. And so now you really basically only need 8 management agreements that come somewhat or indirectly from this mailer to cover your cost. Is that kind of what you guys are thinking on that side?
That's about right, Brad, because without getting into percentages, I look at when I open up an account, it's about $2,800 gross per year in management fees. I'm going to have that account 10 years. A good chunk of that is net profit. So to me, every time I open up an account, it's like selling a house as a broker. I'm only getting paid though over 10 years instead of all at once, like a broker who's selling a house. So I look at kind of my threshold is about $300 to $400 in marketing for every account I open up. That's
really,
I don't pay any more than that.
Okay, that's ideal, because that's really breaking it down to the client acquisition cost, the CAC. And you can call it customer acquisition cost. That's fine. I like to call it client because they're actually clients. I mean, that's a real estate term. Customer is more like, you're checking out at Home Depot. That's a customer thing. But what we do is more like a client relationship with our owners, with our tenants even. You could call that a client relationship. So I call it the client acquisition cost. Sorry to beat that up. But So your client acquisition cost is south of 500. Am I catching that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
That's really outstanding. That's outstanding because if you can be around 400 to 500 or south of there on a client acquisition cost, as far as what I've seen in the industry, that's pretty low. Okay. So I give you kudos for that.
Good.
Switching gears with you real quick. I got to go back and tell me about the dynamic between you and Tom. You got the brothers, one's a broker and one's doing property management. Kind of tell me who the division of labor there and kind of how this all works with you two.
Oh, sure. Well, it took me about a year in this business. I've been in it 4 years to get enough confidence to tell an owner, oh, wait a minute, you're going to sell your home? You must talk to my brother, Tom, because Tom is a fantastic realtor here in this area. And Tom has a company that actually I started 1 year ago called Landlord Real Estate. And what I tell owners and tell anybody that's a landlord looking to sell their rental, that all my brother Tom does is work with landlords. That's the name of his company, Landlord Realty. He helps landlords sell their rental for the maximum price. And I basically give Tom, I outline with the owner 3 benefits that Tom will provide. He knows tenants, so he can work with that outgoing tenant. Number 2, he knows rehab. So he's going to rehab the home to get maximum price, because most rentals are in rough condition compared to a property that the owner is living in. And number 3, Tom understands the 1031 exchange process, what to do after you sell the rental to defer taxes. He's intimately familiar with that because he's done a number of those himself personally. So, and then he offers a number of other benefits to the landlord. So that I'm just referring, I love saying to owners and potential owners that all I do is manage real estate. I'm the only property manager you'll meet that doesn't sell real estate. They love hearing that. However, if and when you do decide to sell your home, I want to refer you to my brother, Tom. So I'm merging Tom into phone calls almost once a day with owners, either of mine or potential owners that are looking to sell.
I think that's genius. And I love the name Landlord Realty. That really pigeonholes what you're doing. I think it's perfect. And it goes into a lot of folks out there that run management companies. They tend to be fearful of the sales. They say they want and only want to do property management, and then they end up giving the sale away for, nothing, like a 25% referral fee or something super small in order to keep the realtor community happy. Well, I think what you guys are doing is what you're supposed to be doing. You have a fiduciary responsibility to protect your clients and help them sell and manage this home as best as possible, referring them back to some agent who doesn't know real estate as far as how it works with rental properties. Are you really doing them the best service? So I think what you guys are doing is very holistic, to use a California term, very holistic in, as far as your management, your sales, and the end state of what you're trying to do for your clients. I think that's outstanding. And to keep going on some of that, what else can you tell me about how you guys work?
Well, one thing, Brad, is that I just heard a statistic recently. Only 5% of realtors own rental property themselves. So as you know, most landlords, they have a friend that has a son or daughter that sells real estate, or they know somebody, a cousin that sells real estate. Well, guess what? This is a huge transaction. You want to give that responsibility to a realtor that is in your shoes, that owns rentals themselves. And so I just think that's a real advantage for my brother Tom also, the fact that he not only owns rentals, but he's done 1031 exchanges. So you're, again, I think this has really helped in myself and Tom working together. He's taken on about 15 home sales this year, 2019, from myself.
So here's some challenges. This will be fun debate for you and I. So we kind of have the same situation here. My spouse, Leah, she sells all the homes that we bring in through RentWorks, et cetera. Some of the challenges that people have their own little perception on who they want to use as a realtor. The cousin's uncle, sister's brother that is a realtor that they feel obligated to go back and use. And so we have that challenge to overcome, to where we say this is a seamless transition where we can do everything up to the point of the security deposit itemization. We move the tenant out, we take over the make ready, we complete the make ready, we sell the home, and we even financially incentivize the owners to use us to sell by lowering our standard commission rate by 0.5%. And so without talking rates, I mean, I think we always do that in writing. It's kind of like a benefit from using RentWorks. And so some of the challenges are, right, we've had to overcome these, is they don't know that we sell homes, right? Isn't that the most infuriating thing you've ever heard? Well, I didn't know you guys sold homes. I only thought you did management. And you just want to, it just makes you so mad to hear that, because they should know that you sell homes. We've been telling them that from day one. And then all of a sudden it comes time to sell, and they go hire their brother down they're not even a sibling, but let's say they go hire somebody from down the street they met at a grocery store. No, I'm just going to hire this guy because I ran into him, when I was buying groceries. And that's pretty infuriating for us. So some of those challenges we have on this side, and I'll get into inspections, but talk to me about just capturing those owners, kind of some best ideas at what you've done to make sure those owners don't drift off and go find another realtor and you lose that sale. So what are you thinking there?
Well, again, my newsletter is, I share that with my brother, Tom. So half of the newsletter is devoted towards the possibility of an owner selling his rental. Half of that newsletter talks about the 1031 exchange, getting maximum price, the benefits of selling with a realtor that understands rentals. Then half of the newsletter is dedicated towards property management, why you should be inspecting a home, and all the pricing a home correctly, screening tenants. So Tom and I split the copy 50-50. And of course, that goes to not only the 18,000 landlords not using our services, but it goes to the several hundred owners that are. So they all know that my brother Tom sells houses.
So I'll be the devil's advocate on this one. I've heard people say that they don't want to put anything in front of their owners that mentions anything about selling, because it would encourage them to sell. They don't want them to sell. They want to hold them into their little basket of homes in the inventory and never let them go. And so I don't understand that mindset. I don't really agree with it. I love what you're doing with the quarterly, flyers, which are awesome. I mean, I need some more adjectives to describe this thing. This is great stuff, because I think that's going to put you constantly in front of those particular owners that are working with you and that are not working with you on a quarterly basis. And says, hey, if you want a free market estimate for selling your home, give my brother Tom a call, right? He's the one. His face is all over here. He's the one that's going to be able to help you to get the max dollar in dealing with the tenant, dealing with the security deposit, dealing with the 1031 exchanges that you have to deal with. He's the guy that can walk you through that from start to finish. And so I think you're getting ahead of the curve there. And I love it. I think that's great stuff. So let me talk about the inspections and what we've learned there. We've learned that a lot of owners think that the visual inspections that our company does is the same as a mechanical full-blown inspection that the state would come in and do. And so I probably didn't say that very well, but we do Z inspector visual inspections. We take picture, 360 tour. We do all that. And we provide that to the owner every year. That's like clockwork on an annual basis. But we've had several instances in the last year or so where owners come to us and say, well, I didn't know the electrical, didn't work. You're supposed to tell me that. Or I didn't know the dishwasher didn't work. You're supposed to tell me that. And we have to go back and tell them, so look, we're not allowed to do that. The state says we can't do those types of inspections unless we are licensed, which we're not. And if we were, we'd have to charge you triple or quadruple of what you were charged for that small little visual inspection. So here's what we did. And it's more talking than really commenting on your side. Is what we started to do is put this in front of the owners. One, in the initial management agreement, make them choose. Do you want a visual only inspection? Choose X. Or do you want a full-blown mechanical inspection every year for $500? Choose X. And so we physically make them choose one or the other, so they don't come to us 10 years from now and say, well, I didn't know there was an option to choose full mechanical inspection. I would have done that every year for $500. I would have done that had I known. And so we put that in front of them in the property management agreement very upfront, to where they have to choose either or. And I think what you're doing in the quarterly newsletters, you probably have blurbs and blogs and tidbits and articles about inspecting the home to get it ready for sale. So any comments on that?
Yeah, I do. Before I do comment, I want to go back to the statement you made regarding that if we encourage an owner to possibly sell his home, aren't we losing that long-term management business? And the bottom line, Brad, is that we as property managers and realtors / brokers should want the best for our owners. What we should present them with both sides of the coin, either continuing to rent the house or selling the house, doing a 1031, buying another rental property outside of the area that can produce more income from them. We need to be looking out for our owners. And so I think that by not at least showing them the possibility of selling their home, is short-sighted. And you might be able to hang on to the property a little bit longer in managing it, but you're possibly not doing your owner a favor. So that's just my feeling on that. As far as inspections go, Brad, gosh, I have never even considered an owner doing a full-blown property inspection once a year. Our inspections, we do them through Happy Inspector. They're maybe 10 to 15 minutes long. They're once a year. We have to write them into the lease here in California because doing a simple inspection of the home is not reason for entry in California. So we have to actually write it in the lease, get them to sign it that we're going to come in once a year. We try to be try not to be obtrusive at all, get the inspector in and out, but he does rank everything 1 to 5. I believe 20 items on the inside, 20 items on the outside. And anything that is a 2 or below, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, we go over with the owner. We say this needs to be addressed. This is a 2 or a 1. We got a problem here. And so the owner gets a copy, the tenant gets a copy, and our property inspections are part of our management fee. We don't charge any extra for them.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what a lot of folks do, is they don't charge extra for that annual inspection, and or they charge some sort of renewal fee, which includes the inspection, and they can charge the owner and or the tenant or both. And so that's pretty common. And we use very similar softwares. You know, the Z Inspector, Happy Inspector is kind of a do-it-yourself software, and we really like doing that because we get into our homes, we do a full-blown visual inspection. And where that came to light, the mechanical versus visual thing, this is real world, is that we did have an owner that was upset about when they were selling the home, the buyer's inspection company comes in and discovers X, Y, and Z. And I believe it was cracks, up in above the garage where there's maybe some evidence of settling. And the owner was ticked off at us. Like, we're supposed to, be scouring the home for foundational leveling in every annual and physical inspection that we're doing. It just kind of got to the point of like, okay, to ensure that owners don't go down that path with us any further, there's a liability thing. And then also making sure that we offer them, a full-blown mechanical inspection. We need to put this in front of them on a more continued basis, just like what you're doing in the sales process with the quarterly newsletters. You're putting that in front of them on a regular basis. And we're trying to implement and do some of those things as well, just for the inspection side, because we do want to provide a very good service for the owners, but we also have to clarify what those services entail. And again, you have to keep doing this over and over, because you could talk them to you're blue in the face in the beginning. People are screaming at me right now, well, that's part of your expectations that you got to do in the beginning. Great. I've been on those presentations where you tell them everything and everything and everything. You go back and talk to them a week later and they're like, I don't remember any part of that. Do you guys do inspections? You spent 30 minutes in the presentation talking about it. Yeah. And then they ask you a week later or 2 weeks later or 2 years later, do you guys even do inspections? I don't know. And so setting the expectations up front is required, but assume they don't remember any of that and start putting that information in front of them on a regular basis. So it just makes your life easier as a manager when you're trying to manage those expectations. So key term there, managing expectations. So you're presenting them, but you're also managing them throughout the life cycle of working with that particular owner to where these are the continued expectations. You guys had some big changes go on in California. And I'd like to hear your comments on this. You just had statewide rent control, right? I know this is off script and we didn't talk about it, but I like to get the opinion of the California PMs to talk about what rent control is looking like. So give me a few minutes on that.
I'll just give you a 90-second upshot on statewide rent control, which goes into effect January 1st here in California. We're only the second state besides Oregon that will have statewide rent control, but it only affects 2 units or more. So single family rentals are not affected. If you have a duplex, triplex, fourplex, or an apartment complex, you're going to be affected with a 5% annual cap on the rental increase plus cost of living increase. So cost of living is, 2 to 3% a year. So that's a pretty generous rental increase that you can still put out every year. But the real problem is going to be the just cause eviction. That goes into effect along with the rent cap. So you cannot get rid of a problem tenant in California after January 1 unless they have not paid rent or they continue to violate something in the lease. It's going to be very difficult to get rid of a problem tenant. You can't just give a notice to vacate with no reason at all like you can now.
Do you think this rent control percentage, is that going to now set the market? I mean, is that going to be where everyone wants to go every year? Is if the cost of living adjusted is 2% and then you can do a max of 5%? Did I catch that right? Is that now 7% rental increase per annum?
Correct.
Okay, so 7%. So does that not mean that every single investor who owns a duplex or bigger, they're going to say, yes, 7% per year. I don't care what's going on with the market, 7% per year, every single tenant, every single year. And then are they setting the market that way? And so if people don't want to pay it, they let them leave and evict them or whatever. I mean, just give me some comments here.
Yeah, some unsophisticated landlords that are self-managing, they may think that way, Brad. But if you've got it under professional property management, you're doing a rent analysis every year. Here in my neck of the woods, rents are not going up. They're like home prices. They're at a plateau right now. So I probably do 30 to 40 renewals a month. Maybe 1 or 2 are getting a rent increase of any kind. The rest are staying the same. The rents are not going up here. So, and when rents were going up, they weren't going up much more than 5%. That's quite a bit here in the Bay Area. So I don't think that the rental cap is going to affect the market one way or another. It's the just cause eviction that is having landlords consider selling their rental right now and investing out of state, doing a 1031 and going to Texas or Arizona or New Mexico or Tennessee.
Interesting stuff. So I appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about your seminars, because we had mentioned this kind of pre-show, and I want you to give me some time on what you've been doing with some of those and how those work, and just give me the whole overview of what those are working for you.
Okay, great. This is what I'm excited about. About 2 years ago, I was advertising, trying a full-page ad in an apartment magazine. And because I was a full-page advertiser, the advertising rep said, "Hey, Mike, how would you like to speak to a group of apartment owners that meet once a month in your neck of the woods? You'll be our featured speaker. You can talk on property management." I said, "I'd love to do that." So I got in front of about 100 apartment owners north of me in Oakland and spoke for an hour and a half on how to effectively manage their property. And I just basically shared all my tricks and tools and techniques, everything that I'd learned in 2 years of doing this. And here I'm speaking to self-managing landlords that have been managing their apartment for 20, 30 years. They knew way more than I did. But because I presented it in a logical, methodical way with a professional PowerPoint, they loved it. So I ended up doing a number of seminars for this apartment organization, was getting no business because most of them were a bunch of cheapskates that just wanted my information. And I thought to myself, why aren't I doing these seminars for landlords of single family homes in my trade area, in my area? So that led me to start doing seminars 18 months ago right here in my office. So I hold a 2-hour seminar every 90 days. It's called the 12 Basics of Property Management. And I advertise it in my quarterly newsletter. And I'm getting anywhere from 60 to 80 landlords most of them not doing business with me. Only a handful of my existing clients come to it. And so they come and sit for 2 hours hearing a professional property manager show them how to effectively manage their property. I give them all the forms of my lease, my tenant handbook, my addendums. They're all available to anybody that attends the seminar. And I'm showing them how to manage their rental the right way. So here's some things about the seminar. You're going, basically the way I look at it, it's a listing presentation to 60 people all at one time. You're showing them just how professional you are in your 2-hour presentation. And at the end, you want to make a pitch for having you manage the property.
Sorry to interrupt. You charge for this?
I charge $59. The first couple seminars I did were free, and those days are gone. In my opinion, if I had to put a dollar value on this seminar, it would be $2,000. Because I've had some owners say, well, $59, if I bring a friend of mine, he owns a rental, can he come for free? I say, absolutely not. You're going to get so much information. I'm going to give you all my forms. I'm going to introduce you to a handyman. No. So it's $59. So that helps me recoup some of my advertising costs. I provide a small little brunch. It's from 10 to 12 in the morning. There's no breaks. And they have a handout that I give them. It's in my office. I have professional PowerPoint. And at the end of the 2-hour seminar, I ask for all of them to fill out the feedback form that I provide to them. I want them to give me feedback on the seminar. And on that form, they have to check boxes. Do you want the PowerPoint slides? Check this box. Do you want information on upcoming seminars? Check this box. Do you want to sit down with Mike and talk about property management? Check the box. Do you want to sit down with Tom and talk about possibly selling your home? Check the box. And then I gather all those forms, put them in a hat, and I have a drawing at the end of the seminar. That way I get all the forms from the people attending. So if 60 people attend my seminar, I've got 60 feedback forms. So there's a lot of benefits to it. Number one, you're going to get a few, not many, but a few owners. They're going to say at the end of the seminar, oh, heck, Mike, you take over my property. You manage it. There's too many moving parts to this. And then you're also farming for future business. They're going to remember you. Maybe they won't do business with you now, but 2 or 3 years from now, when they're tired of managing it themselves or their sons or daughters take it over, they're going to give you a call. You are providing education to a totally uneducated audience, because landlords of rental homes, they get no training whatsoever. There's nobody teaching them how to manage their house properly, and they all think they know more than they do. So, and then of course, you're looking good in front of your existing customers, because when they see that you're the guy putting on seminars, and they get angry at you for one reason or another, and maybe consider switching from you, they're going to remember, oh gosh, these guys are the experts. They're the ones doing the seminars. We don't want to switch to another management company. Let's stick with Mike.
A couple comments I want to jump in on. Educational selling. This is a form of that done at a high level. I'm loving that you're bringing this up. And so the other part of that is the stickiness that you make and create by having the one-on-one. They see your face, they look at your eyeballs, you look at them. That creates a human bond to make you a little bit stickier, because a lot of PMs, they want to be in the shadows, they want to be behind the scenes, they don't want to talk to owners, they don't want to visit with owners, they don't want to meet with owners. And so that makes you a little bit more sticky because you're out there every quarter doing this. So don't forget, you failed to mention this, is referrals. Now you're getting indirect referrals. So you're going to get somebody that's going to call up you or Tom and say, yeah, one of my friends went to your seminar. They really liked you guys. So I'm giving you a call to potentially manage my home or sell my home or what are those things. So how long have you been doing this?
That's happened, Brad. I've been doing this for 18 months. I've put on 6 seminars, and I just can't wait. My next one is this Saturday, December 7th. And then, Brad, I want to dovetail this into a second seminar that I want to share with your listeners. I'll just take a minute to share with you my investment seminar. It's entitled, now this is a completely separate seminar. It always follows it's the following Saturday after my 12 Basics of Property Management seminar. And it's entitled, Should I Hold, Sell, or Exchange My Rental? Now, this is basically a real estate investment 101 course. It's 2 hours long, and I'm basically presenting to the owner what their cap rate is on their current rental house. And then we're going to compare that cap rate to maybe a commercial property outside of the Bay Area, or a fourplex outside of the Bay Area, or going out of state and looking at homes in other areas of the country that provide a better cap rate. We talk in the seminar about the 1031 exchange. We talk about what the timing experts are saying in terms of appreciation here in the Bay Area over the coming year or two. We talk about the pros and cons of commercial versus residential, the pros and cons of a single family home versus a townhouse or a condo. In 2 hours, they learn a tremendous amount about their own rental and about possibly selling it and exchanging into rentals that are going to provide them with more monthly income. That's the bottom line. Showing them that with the same amount of risk, they can be making more monthly cash flow from their rental. So in that seminar, I'm getting double the attendees, where I might, the last one I had in September, I had 140 attendees in my morning and afternoon session. And
That's a lot.
A ton of people wanting to sit down with my brother Tom to talk about selling their rental home. See, here in the Bay Area, Brad, you have a very low cap rate with a rental home because the value of a home here is so great compared to what you can rent it for. So the cap rate is much lower than it would be in Texas or Phoenix or any other state in the country. It's right around 2%, which is horrible.
Yeah, I'm cringing back here, 2%. So tell me about these seminars. Now, do you have these kind of packaged up, or what have you done with them?
Well, I made a presentation at the NARPM conference in Phoenix last month, and I presented to about 100 attendees, and I made the same offer that I want to make to your listeners. Anybody that wants my PowerPoint for these 2 seminars can have them for free, along with my handouts and my feedback forms. I want to make them available to any property manager that wants to put on a seminar. Why? Because I know where I reap, I sow. If I can help rise the tide by providing education to landlords out there through other property managers, so be it. So all somebody has to do is email me, and I'll provide the PowerPoint slides, no charge.
All right, so let's get the email out there. Go ahead.
It's Mike, M-I-K-E, at East Bay, E-A-S-T-B-A-Y, P-M-C, Peter Mary Charlie.com. Just send me an email telling me how much you like this podcast and that you'd like my PowerPoint slides for both seminars.
Outstanding stuff. So do you think this is going to be the untapped resource to really start getting in front of more owners on a continual basis? Do you ever see this kind of like going away? Or is this returning back to the old school educational selling, face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball that people are longing for? Kind of what are you thinking long-term for this?
Well, Brad, I don't know what the old days were like because I've only been in this a few years. But I just know that I like making the transition from just trying to sell every landlord to helping them as well as selling. So I'm going to continue doing it until they stop showing up. I've got, I'm going to have even a larger seminar this month than I had back in September. I'll be doing my next one in March. I've got several people that were at the NARPM conference flying in from other states just to watch to see me put on the seminars so that they can do it themselves when they get back home.
I think that's genius. I love it. So let's recap. Mike, Mike at eastbaypmc.com. Email Mike. He's going to send you the PowerPoint and the handouts for free for both types of seminars. That's a huge value add. Now, be honest, everybody. Anytime you got a referral that needs to go to Mike, you got to give it to him. I mean, he's giving it out there for free. If you can take care of him in any other way, always want to look to do that because it's karma, right? It all comes around. And I think that's kind of why you're putting it out there for free. And I really appreciate that. So do our listeners.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Brad. I'm going to ask everybody that requests one for just to take 1 or 2 minutes to give me a good review, because God knows we need those good reviews to outweigh some of the crazies that give us the bad ones.
I think that's totally fair. And I would challenge everybody out there to make sure they do leave your company a good review, either Yelp, Google, or wherever you ask for it, because that's only fair. And you don't have to do anything weird. Don't say like you're some sort of weird owner or tenant. Just say, I really appreciate what Mike has done. I'm a fellow property management company owner out of Missouri, and I flew out there and loved his conference and seminar and all that. Just give an honest review, 5-star. That's all you want to do. I think that's genius and totally well respected. One of the best techniques I ever heard was from a good friend of mine out in Chicago, and the name is leaving me, but he would get these owners on the phone, right? The owners would call up and say, I want to pick your brain because I saw your post on Bigger Pockets. I want to pick your brain for 20 minutes. He says, great, I'll give you all the answers you need. I'll give you a half hour of my time. But to do that, you're going to leave me a 5-star review on Google. Are you ready to do that? Yeah, I'm great. I'm good. Let's go. And so they already agreed up front before you ever gave them any sort of time that they're going to leave you a 5-star review. So he asked for it up front, right? Versus at the end. And I think the upfront technique is much better. So not to turn this into a story on how to get reviews, but what you're doing here with the seminars and offering this for free, man, I really appreciate that. And that means a lot to all people out there. So thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome, Brad. Thanks.
All right. Well, good. Let's end us here so everybody can run and email you real quick. And you're going to be just completely bombarded by emails for the next few weeks or so. Yeah. Really appreciate you coming on. And I plan on seeing you at the next conference. I'm hoping to see you at the Property Management Master Conference in March here in Vegas. We'll be doing that.
It's on my calendar, Brad.
Perfect. We'll see you there. And of course, I'll be out at Cal NARPM. I may potentially see you there if you decide to go to that.
Fantastic, Brad. Well, I always look for mentors and role models. This is I mentioned to you, it's my third career. And from the very get-go, I loved what you were doing, how you were sharing with the industry. And you are my mentor / role model. I love what you do out there.
Appreciate it. I didn't even have to pay you to say that. Thank you so much, Mike. Been a fantastic episode. Great to have you on. Very impressed with your handouts, man. Keep it going, and look forward to staying in touch. So any parting comments for the team out there?
Nope, just happy landlording.
All right. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Brad.
Property Meld is made for maintenance work automation. Property Meld will work to schedule, remind, verify completion, and follow up with your residents automatically, while providing the best-in-class communication system for your ease of use, your vendors, and your tenants. Begin reducing maintenance coordination time and increasing tenant satisfaction today. Learn more at propertymeld.com.
This has been a podcast episode by PropertyManagementProductions.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave us feedback, and come back for our next episode.